Ruth Akinyi and Mary Wairimu needed to buy phones, just like many other Kenyans, to make calls, send messages, send and receive money. Kabambe or Mulika Mwizi are Swahili words for a basic phone, cheap, easy to use, and most importantly, whose battery charge lasts longer. But like many young people, a smartphone would be more preferable and alluring.
Nilinunua simu 500 na hiyo simu ilikuwa ya biashara. Sasa niko like nayo for 2 months. Imekuwa ikinisaidia naona kila kitu iko sawa.
Leo niko na sweets, sijui unahitaji gani leo?
Mary Wairimu, a small-scale trader, has 2 handsets, a smartphone and a basic phone. But her experience with a counterfeit phone is common.
Me nimeiba simu fake, me personally. Hiyo simu sikuwa najua. Niliambiwa ni simu origi na nikatestiwa. But the time nilienda kutumia, kitu ya kwanza kuangalia sisi kama madem ni kamera. Inakuwa si clear. Naona. Kitu ya pili, storage yake ilikuwa less. Imeandikwa hivyo tuseme ni kama 16 GB, but the time una install vitu already iko full.
According to the anti-counterfeit agency ACA, nearly 75% of Kenyans used counterfeit goods in 2019. ACA estimates that about 1 in 5 products sold in major towns in Kenya are counterfeit. Only 19% purchase the goods knowingly. 49% purchase the goods because they are cheap.
Mimi natumianga phone Kenya kanaitwa katuruturu. Then the advantage of this small one, kubeba ni rahisi, iko ni friendly kwa pocket. Hata kakipotea leo, tomorrow you have another one.
According to the ACA report, 17.3% of Kenyan consumers were looking for original items but could not find them.
Siku hizi hata tunashindwa kujua ni gani original, by the way, because imekuwa the branding inakuwa the same na origi.
18.3%, according to the report, were not aware of the risk. The most counterfeited items were phones at 51.8%, alcohol at 30.8%, DVD players at 26.4%, and bottled water at 24%.
Recent statistics from the government has also indicated a loss of over 200 billion annually as potential income. And from my previous position as CAM chair, the manufacturers actually claim 40% of their market is actually taken by illicit trade.
Any illicit trade is trade carried out outside the laws of a country. So most of the time someone carrying out illicit trade is probably not paying their taxes, is probably engaged in also the illicit financial flows in and out of the countries they're operating in.
We cannot underrate the problem. The problem is big.
Counterfeit phones at the point of manufacturing and importation have different names. But when they are in the country's distribution and retail chains, they are falsely branded and passed off as some of the most popular brands. They are then priced lower to attract the unsuspecting buyers.
Hizi za 500. Ukiangalia hii kuangi original, inakuanga tu copy, ni kama ni China tu, lakini inakuanga nzuri kuangi bado. Ni Nokia. Battery yake unapata sio ile original ya Nokia. Sasa ukinunua inabidi utaenda tu utafutie battery nyingine, lakini ukitafutia tu battery simu inakuwa mzuri. Mimi nanunua tu kwa shop town within Nairobi ni Luthuli Avenue.
Tomboy Street and Luthuli Avenue in downtown Nairobi have been identified as conduits for trade of counterfeit smartphones, especially from China. A raid in the area in February 2019 uncovered a haul of counterfeit phones worth 8 million Kenya shillings.
They take Samsung stickers and stick on top of those other brands. We make a race on the people that are offering the phones for sale. Whoever is found handling these gadgets is the one we are arresting.
Unknown to many customers, components such as lithium-ion batteries found in smartphones pose a grave risk to the users and the environment given the high disposal rates in the case of counterfeit phones. Kenya remains one of the top 5 smartphone markets in Africa. But when smartphones are counterfeited, smartphone manufacturers lose revenue and brand loyalty, following numerous cases of failed devices just days after purchase. According to a study by the European Union Intellectual Property Office and the International Telecommunications Union, the smartphone industry lost 4.8 trillion Kenya shillings worth of sales to counterfeits in 2015 alone. Here in Kenya, a manual developed by the Kenya Association of Manufacturers (CAM) ranked the country as the largest market for counterfeits in East Africa. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development (OECD) estimates that the East African Community (EAC) loses over $500 million in tax revenue annually due to counterfeiting.
If you're talking about counterfeits, they're actually being assembled in Kenya. So the parts are brought in and assembled here. So you wouldn't say that there's like a source market.
There's also the issue of our porous borders. That continues to be a challenge. The fact that we don't even have a harmonized IPR or intellectual property registration system for the region.
Illicit financial flows. This is the movement of illegally acquired, transferred, or spent funds across borders. On multiple occasions, both Chinese and Kenyan security and custom agents have seized counterfeit goods from China destined for the Kenyan market. A United Nations report released in June 2017 ranked Kenya as a major fake pharmaceutical and veterinary drug trafficking hub. According to the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, because of counterfeits, 30 billion Kenya shillings is lost by Kenyan manufacturers every year. The government loses 6 billion shillings annually as potential tax revenue. Foreign investors cannot innovate into new product lines because of the fear that their products will soon be counterfeited before reaching the targeted markets. The Kenyan government has declared war against illicit trade. This can be broadly classified as smuggling, counterfeiting, piracy, transit fraud and trade in prohibited or contraband goods. Recent seizures of substandard sugar, as well as the circulation in the market of fake fertilizer, among other products, have caused the government to rethink strategies towards fighting illicit trade. As part of the policy, regulatory, and legal framework, the government came up with a 2019 National Action Plan to combat illicit trade. This will involve multiple agencies including the Anti-Counterfeit Agency, the Customs Department of the Kenya Revenue Authority, the Pharmacy and Poisons Board, the Weight and Measures Department, Pest Control Products Board, and relevant government departments.
One of the gaps in the past was the fact that each of the agencies were working independently. So when I'm KRA, I just look at my revenue collection. If I'm KEBS, I look at my standards. If I'm ACA, I look at whether it's counterfeit or real. But the multi-agency approach has led to a lot of synergy within the enforcement agencies. That's going a long way in terms of improving the actions around that.
Counterfeit goods remain the biggest threat to local industries, and consumers like Ruth and Mary would no doubt make different purchases decisions if only they understood the link between what they buy and the country's overall economy. But many analysts believe the multi-agency approach adopted by the government could bear fruit if it addresses not just the consumer awareness problem, but also the corruption and loopholes in the system that facilitate the illicit trade. Dorcas Wengera, Citizen TV, Nairobi.